Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Jannatul Adni and I'm from class D. Today I want to present about the syntax. So in my presentation, I would like to explain you all about the first is definition of syntax. The second is the basic principle of syntax. The third is the phrase. The fourth is clause, and the last is syntax tree diagram. Okay, so let's begin our presentation. Okay, the first material is what is syntax. The term of syntax is from the ancient Greek syntaxis. It is a verbal noun that literally means arrangement or setting out together. So it refers to branch of grammar with the ways in which words with or without appropriate inflections are arranged to show connection of meaning within a sentence. And in general, syntax is the study of the structure of sentences, and syntax is the way how the words are put together to form phrases and sentences. Okay, next material is rules in syntax. There are two rules in syntax. The first is phrase structure rules. It describes the internal composition of syntactic units, showing what kind of smaller units they are made up of. The second is transformational rules. It attempts to recognize the well-formed sentence and which sentences are related to each other. These two rules can be schematized as the first is phrase structure rules or constituent structure rules. So next is deep structure. So the meaning given here. Next is transformational rules. Next is surface structure, pronunciation given here. So the example from this rule is rule of the form subject noun phrase and verb phrase can be interpreted as a sentence can consist of the component units noun phrase and verb phrase which are ordered in the way stated. So let's move to the second material, that is basic principles. Okay, as we know, syntax is the study about the structure of a sentence. So the basic principles of syntax itself is sentence. So to create good and meaningful sentence, we have to look at these three components. The first is word order. Word language have specific rules for the order in which word should appear in a sentence. Like in Bahasa, we use SPOK as the word order. Subject, predicate, object, and keterangan. But in English, we typically use SVO word order or subject, verb, object. It can be also subject, verb, object complement, but the basic one is subject, verb, object. For example, I love pizza. I as the subject, love as the verb, and pizza as the object. And this word order help us to understand the relationship between subject, verb, and object. So the second is lexical morphemes. Lexical morphemes plays a role in determining the grammatical structure of the sentences. These lexical morphemes included everyday nouns, adjectives, verbs, and adverbs. So these lexical morphemes add grammatical information through the noun, adjectives, verb, and adverbs to the sentence. Third component is grammatical morphemes. Grammatical morphology or grammatical morphemes contributes to our understanding of constituency and dependency. Constituency means this principle involves identifying constituents, which are groups of words that function as a single unit within a sentence. For example, I kick the big red ball. The big red ball here is the constituency, is the constituents because it were groups of words that function as a single unit within a sentence, and it become the object of the sentence. So the next is dependency. Syntax deals with the relationship between words in a sentence, such as subject-verb or noun-adjective relationships. And these grammatical morphemes provide us with two additional sets of language clues. The first is functional words. Functional words add grammatical information about the semantic relationships between other constituents in the clause. In English, functional words are preposition, pronouns, conjunctions, and articles. So for further information, let's see these two examples. The first is was walking from door, dropping bags, going back. And the second is it was me walking out of my door, dropping my bags, going back in. Okay, from these two examples, we can see that the second example is the easier example to read and to understand. Why? Because it contains functional words such as pronouns, conjunctions, and prepositions. So from these two examples, we can see how functional words very effective to understand the clause. And the second is inflectional morphemes. Inflectional morphemes focuses on the word endings that add grammatical information but do not change the word classifications. Example in word cats. The letter S or the morpheme S at the end of the morpheme cat is the inflectional morphemes. It adds grammatical information about the cats, but it doesn't change the word classification. It just changed the meaning from the kucing become the kucing-kucing. And then because of that, the suffixes doesn't include the inflectional morphemes because it often changes the word classification. So, these inflectional morphemes often used to add different kinds of grammatical to the major word classes. Example, first is number in singular plural for nouns. For example, he owns several rare books. The letter or the morpheme S at the end of morpheme book is the inflectional morphemes. So the second is in tense, in present or past for verbs. Example, Mary walked with her brother. The letter ed at the end of the morphemes walk is the inflectional morphemes. So the last is in gradation, in comparative or superlative for adjective and adverb. For example, that car is faster, but this car is the fastest. The letter ER and EST at the end of the word fast is the inflectional morphemes because it adds grammatical information at the end of the words, but it doesn't change the word classification. So the next material is about praise. Praise is a group of words that has no subject-verb combination and can be used alone and has a meaning if we use it in a sentence. For example, a small house. We can see this from this phrase that it has no subject-verb combination. Because of that, it can be used alone, but if we put it in a sentence, it has a meaning. Okay, there are 5 types of the phrase. The first is noun phrase. It acts like a noun in a sentence. Noun phrase here is the word behind. It explains about the man and it gives more information about the man. That the man behind you is my brother. So the second is verb phrase. Is a group of main verb and helping the verb. The verb phrase here is the word have because it explains the verb finish. Next is preposition phrase to give information about the preposition. He is sleeping on the carpet. The carpet here has a function to give information about the preposition in order that preposition become clear. Where it is, where was he sleep? So he is sleeping on the carpet. So the fourth is adjective praise, to give information about adjectives. I am very tired with you. The word very here explain the adjective tired. So it shows here that I am really tired with you. So the last is adverb praise, to give information about adverb. Their example, they write really fast. So the word really is the adverb praise because it gives information and it explain about the adverb phrase. Okay, the next material is clause. Clause is a fundamental unit of syntax that consists of a subject and a predicate. And there are two types of clauses. The first is independent clause. It is a complete thought and can stand alone as a sentence. And while dependent clause is a non-complete thought and cannot stand alone as a sentence. Dependent clause relies on independent clause. So to make complete sentence, we have to combine this independent clause and dependent clause. For example, the independent clause, I like reading book. It shows that the idea have expressed completely in this independent clause. So they can stand alone as a sentence. For example, dependent clause, because I'm interested in literary. So we can see that it is not a complete thought and it can stand alone as a sentence because it doesn't clear. So because of that, we have to combine independent clause and dependent clause to make a complete sentence. Example, I like reading book because I am interested in literary. So next material, there are three types of dependent clause. The first is adjective clause. This add extra information about a noun. They often start with words like who, which, or that. So the second types is adverb clauses. These modify verbal, adjective, or adverbs and answer questions like how, when, where, why, or to what extent. And the last is noun clauses. These act as a nouns like subject or object. The next is, okay, the last material is syntax tree diagram. Okay, before explaining this syntax tree diagram, I recommended you all to memorize and pay attention to the notes so you aren't be confused or what is VP stand for or others. So as for sentence, VP for the verb phrase and etc. Okay, so now let's see this picture. Okay, there is a sentence. Mary brought a cat to school. So this sentence divided into two. The first is noun and verb phrase. This Mary is a noun that function as a subject. Because of that, here we put an. So the VP is a verb phrase. It's divided into three. So the first is verb itself. Broke is a verb that function as a predicate is in this sentence. So the second dividing is a noun phrase. It divides into determiner and noun. Is a determiner, and cat here is a noun. And these two morphemes has a function as a noun phrase as an object in this sentence. So the third is prepositional phrase. It's divided into two also, in and an. In two for in and school as a noun. So these two morphemes, to and school, has a function as a prepositional phrase that show the adverb of place in this sentence. Okay, that's all from me. In conclusion, syntax is the branch of grammar that explore about the structure of sentences. And syntax is to study the patterns and the relationship of words, phrases, and clauses. Syntax attempts to uncover the underlying principles or rules for constructing well-formed sentence. So in learning linguistics, we have to understand deeply about the syntax because syntax plays crucial role in understanding linguistics. So that's all from me. Thanks for watching till the end.